good flag. And that is a bit of a problem, as the organization it represents is kind of a big deal. But before we get to why this flag is not a good flag, let's first acknowledge what is good about it, namely its color. White on a light blue ground, Pantone 2925 to be exact, emanates a certain calmness, like clouds against a blue, fallout-free sky. They create a nice contrast, which helps with recognizing the emblem, in theory, and let the UN flag stand out among usually non-light blue national flags. Notable exception, Somalia's flag, which, as a reminder of the UN's role in its transition from colony to independent state, uses the exact same color scheme. Another UN flag special feature, it has no single, correct set of proportions. It's either 2 by 3, the most popular choice for national flags, or 3 by 5, and 2 should be plenty, right? No! Shouts country not able to bear the UN flag appearing due to its different proportions, slightly bigger than its own, obviously much more greater, national flag. So the UN, king of compromise, instead morphs its own flag to fit the proportions of any national flag flown next to it. Only rule here is that the emblem has to be half the size of the hoist. So when in Switzerland, UN flag go like this, and in Qatar, like this. So Nepal, this is your chance to shine. Okay, that's the good stuff done. Now, on to the bad. Let's start with what's on the flag. What's on the flag? Well, there's... What's on the flag? On the flag of the UN is the emblem of the UN. A world map resting on 2 olive branches representing world peace. The symbolism here is weak. And so I got to work. The creation of that design was to be the most important task of my life. I ached and I fought until finally divine inspiration. This was to be the everlasting symbol of the United Nations. I was sure of it. That's it, yeah? Looks a bit meh. I poured my heart and soul, yeah, whatever. I'm late for lunch as it is. We'll take it. The world map on the emblem on the flag uses an azimuthal equidistant projection, a term that will tell you next to nothing, but is pretty fun to say. I prefer to say azimuthal myself, but 1, you can't always get, and 2, what you want. So onwards we move. Azimuthal equidistant projection is science talk for a map centered on a specific point, the North Pole in this instance, from which all other points are at a correctly scaled distance. The goal here was to provide an unbiased view of the Earth, in contrast to the oft-used Greenland growing, Africa shrinking, Eurocentric Mercator projection. Doesn't really work though. Only the countries near the center, close to the North Pole, are somewhat recognizable. The way south leads deeper and deeper into distortion land, where Australia looks like Turkey. And then there's the question of which way is up. The original, unofficial 1945 design of the UN emblem had its vertical axis going straight through North America, making it the only continent the right, easily recognizable way around. That was corrected by the time the emblem got official a year later. Now, it's not North America that's upright. Thanks to the prime meridian passing through Greenwich, it's Europe. Which is better, question mark? And there's something else. Notice anything? Me. Yes. There's a whole continent missing. Which one's that? Antarctica, the penguin one. That's not the first time they do Antarctica like that. Doesn't make it any easier though. Moral of the story, putting a map on the ideally unbiased UN flag and emblem only creates problems. You can rotate it as much as you want, you'll never find an orientation that doesn't put the focus on one part of the Earth to the detriment of all others. The only bias-free representation of Earth is a globe, so until they figure out a way to put a 3-dimensional object on a 2-dimensional plane, we're better off letting maps be maps and flags be flags. On top of the map conundrum, there's also a design problem. The UN flag is cluttered. We have 2 already overly detailed olive branches, plus all the many minuscule geographic shapes of the world. That's too much stuff. Here's what you see glancing at it from a distance. A light blue flag with something white in the center. No chance you can recognize what's on there. The main function of flags is communication. What? Even more so for the UN, whose personnel is often better protected by signs of the international community than by any weapon. But when you can't recognize its flag from a distance, that communication gets scrambled. Dude, have we been invaded by Somalia? A good flag is, dare I say it, like an emoji. simple enough to be easily recognizable even when really small. If it takes forever to draw a flag, that's not a good flag. Bro, you heard me. If you, like I, are now of the opinion that this flag is not a good flag, the logical next step is to ask, how can we, in our infinite wisdom bestowed upon us by our internet service providers, make the bad flag into a good flag? First, let's get rid of the map and the olive branches. Much better. What to put on there now? We could, of course, make something up out of thin air, but I'd argue we don't actually have to, because there already exists a great historic flag we can steal from. The United Nations honor flag, either with or without a U, depending on whether you like unnecessary vowels in your words. Detractors might call it the KFC flag because, you know. But doesn't count. The flag has actually been around a few years longer than the fast food chain. So take that, Chicken Man. The honor flag was used unofficially as the most influential of countless amateur UN flags in a time when the United Nations were not an organization, but a loose group of countries united in their dislike of what Mustache Man and friends were doing. It features a white ground with 1, 2, 3, 4 red pillars representing, based on Roosevelt's 1941 State of the Union address, 4 basic freedoms. Freedom of speech, freedom of worship, freedom from want, and freedom from fear. The honor flag is simple, iconic, and stands for something more than just war bad. As an enthusiast design, it just never stood a chance against a professional one, straight from the ranks of UN bureaucracy. So, my proposition. Take the basic design of the honor flag, adjust it a bit so the pillars are the same distance from all edges, but then change the color palette to the unique blue and white of the current flag, and there you go. The current UN flag is the lowest common denominator, an obvious and bland design with the goal of not offending anyone, emblematic for the shortcomings of the United
Smell of freedom. Hashtag smell of freedom. January 20th. Time to burn your UN flag. Hello, everybody. Just wanted to give you the skinny on Smell of Freedom Challenge, sponsored by Black Sheep Truth Media. Hopefully, we are going to start this on January 20th to coincide with the Worldwide Rally for Freedom 15.0. So, it's time to exit the United Nations. Get yourself a UN flag, any size. You can make one, print one off online, whatever, and safely over a burn barrel or similar burning area, record yourself burning your UN flag and state the reason for burning it. Mention the hashtag Smell of Freedom Challenge. Once your flag is burnt and your recording is finished, upload it to Black Sheep Truth Media on Facebook. Emphasize the hashtag when posting it. When we are trying to have this challenge start on the 20th, so have fun with it, do it safely, and let's make this worldwide. Share, share, share. And let's promote the House of Commons e-petition 4623 to get rid of the WHO and the United Nations and any unelected NGOs like the WEF, World Economic Forum. Let's make this message loud and clear. We don't want you. We don't need you. January 20th, 2024. Be prepared to burn down the United Nations House. Welcome to the revolution, 2024. Exit the UN. Hello all. Okay, some info about flag burning. I did some research, considering when I mentioned this challenge to some people, a couple of people were against burning flags. So, I did a bit of research, and this is what I found. Flag burning really became a go-to tactic in the United States in the 60s during the Vietnam War. But around the world, burning a flag has long been a simple, effective means of protesting a federal government. Australia is one of the few nations, along with the United States, Canada, and Belgium, to explicitly allow flag burning. It is legal to burn the flag in Canada. It is legal to burn the Canadian flag. It may be a symbol of Canadian nationality, associated with pride and a unified nation. However, it's not against the law to disrespect, deface, and destroy it. As burning the flag is a mode by which an individual may destroy it, it follows that it is not illegal to destroy it. There exists no legislation where burning the flag is a criminal action under the Canadian Criminal Code or any other statute. However, there are official government rules on flag etiquette that state that the Canadian flag should not be subjected to indignity, but there are no laws against desecration, such as burning, shredding, stomping, or spitting on it. These official etiquette rules simply express the Canadian government's sentiments regarding flag burning, but there is no corresponding legislation by which the government may enforce the sentiment. While some may find flag burning to be a disrespectful act, such acts are protected forms of expression under the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. Such laws permitting forms of expression are a reflection of the high value held for freedom of expression in Canada and Canadian society. There are many reasons why an individual may feel compelled to burn the Canadian flag. It is an anti-national expression protesters may use to demonstrate anger or frustration with the Canadian government. It can be an expression of political anarchism, where an individual holds an anti-nation state position. Typically, more conservative nationalistic countries have laws that criminalize flag burning. Following is a list of countries where flag burning is illegal and therefore punishable by law: Austria, Brazil, China, Croatia, Denmark, Finland, Japan, India, France, Turkey, and Germany, among others. There are also other countries that similarly frown upon flag burning, but do not have legislation to make this action illegal. Therefore, in Canada, it is legal for flag burning, and it represents as a free expression, not punishable by law. That said, I just want you all to know that this hashtag Smell of Freedom challenge has nothing to do with any nation's flag. It has to do with the United Nations and their UN Agenda 2030 and their 17 Sustainable Development Goals that will do nothing to benefit ordinary people and only benefit them, the ones who are making these sustainable goals. On January 17th of this year's theme, Cooperation in a Fragmented World. The annual event was once regarded as a cheerleader for globalization. Now, the global elite will meet against a backdrop of protectionism. A war has strained political alliances and deepening ideological divides. Climate change topped the World Economic Forum's survey of global risk, and energy company executives will mix with climate activists and environment ministers at the forum. The WEF is not without its detractors. In recent years, it has been criticized by activists and commentators as talking shop for the jet set that just adds to global carbon emissions. These three organizations, never elected by the people, want to dictate to the world how we should live. I'm talking about the WHO, the UN, and the WEF. It is now rumored that both the UN and the WEF want to expedite their Agenda 2030 to the year of 2025, which is next year. So, this here challenge has to do with an unelected body that wants to control every single person on Earth. This has nothing to do with all those people, especially veterans, who have been involved with any UN peacekeeping. It has nothing to do with the people itself. From 1943 to 1948, the UN flag was used as a symbol of wartime allies, and it was called the United Nations Honor Flag, also termed the United Nations Flag, the Honor Flag, or the Four Freedoms Flag. Additional names: Friendship Flag, Freedom Flag, Goodwill Flag, and Flag of Four Freedoms. The four red bars in the center of a white background represents the Allies of World War II, and the flag symbolizes their goal of world peace. It was designed in October of 1942 by Brooks Hardy, who based it on President Franklin Roosevelt's speech of January of 1941, in which he proposed the four fundamental freedoms that people everywhere in the world ought to enjoy: freedom of speech, freedom of worship, freedom from want, and freedom from fear. However, it was never an official flag of the United Nations as an organization, which was founded in 1945 and adopted a different flag of the United Nations in 1946. The blue with the map that leaves out one continent. This official United Nations flag is the flag that will be used in this Smell of Freedom challenge. Right there. That's one, the small one. Feel free to burn your UN flag, record it, and state your reason for burning it, and send it to me or Black Sheep Truth Media on Facebook. I will be doing up a little video slideshow of any of the videos that are sent to me or any of the videos that I record. Time to exit the United Nations, so sign the petition. E4623 by the House of Commons. You have until February 7th deadline to sign it. Once you sign it, share it. Happy New Year, fellow freedom fighters and warriors. Hoo-ah! Welcome to 2024. Morning all. Saturday, January 20th. Almost 10:25 a.m. I am just coming on here before this challenge, hashtag Smell of Freedom challenge begins, because I want to reiterate one thing: the concerns that some people have about burning this here UN flag. Okay? Just note, it is not a nation's flag. We are not desecrating any nation. That flag does not represent our veterans who fought under that flag as UN peacekeepers, because that's not what this is about. I have utmost respect for our veterans, and you know who you are I'm talking about right now. because I love our veterans. I'm a veteran. Fortunately for me, I did not see war, but I have the highest regard and respect for all veterans in our country and around the world. Any UN peacekeepers, I have respect for you, the people. What I don't have respect for with this flag is what it represents. And I'll just give you a couple examples of what it represents. Total enslavement of the planet by 2030 with their Agenda 2030 17 Sustainable Development Goals. This is what they are stating will be achieved by 2030, with all countries somehow miraculously retaining their own culture, resources, and economies. Total eradication of hunger across the planet. Total eradication of race inequalities across the planet. Total eradication of poverty across the planet. Total eradication of gender inequality across the planet. Total eradication of war across the planet. Total eradication of malaria and other mosquito-borne diseases across the planet. Total eradication of TB across the planet. A set standard of education for every child on the planet. Clean water and sanitation for every person on the planet. A decent job for every worker on the planet. Sustainable economic growth in every country on the planet. Sustainable agriculture across the planet. Sustainable livestock production across the planet. A reduction in natural resources use in every country on the planet. A reduction in greenhouse gas emissions in every industrialized nation on the planet. A reduction in flood and drought events in susceptible locations around the world. Okay? If that doesn't sink in, because what they're promising is what they're doing is the opposite, right? They don't want fertilizer. They don't want agriculture to grow. They don't want all this. They want to eradicate you eating meat, for crying out loud. They're already making 3D meat right now. And some countries like Italy are banning it. So there you go. There are other odds and ends they have thrown in, but bottom line is that they intend for all of these things to be done by the year 2030. Globalism just took on a whole new meaning. United Nations plans require biometric identification and birth registration for all humans on Earth. Okay? They want to chip the global population. They're taking the world for themselves, and that means taking it away from you and me and every other person who did not vote for them. We didn't elect them. We don't need them, and we don't want them. Okay? The UN Agenda 2030 is a global roadmap to corporate fascism and totalitarian socialism. Okay? So, just wanted you all to know that burning this UN flag represents the United Nations and their 17 Sustainable Development Goals for 2030 that they want to expedite to 2025. So let that sink in. I love y'all, especially our veterans. This has nothing to do with all that you have done for peace, for our country, and for the world. It has nothing to do with the people. This has to do with the United Nations wanting to control the whole world along with the WF and the WHO. We can't have it. So this is our way to tell them we want out, and to tell our own country we don't want to be part of it. So let's get out. Hello everybody. This is first video for smell a freedom challenge, burning this UN flag. Why am I burning the flag, you may ask? Agenda 2030 equals globalization, and it's collectivism, and you're losing your individuality. Let me read you goal number 7. Ensure access to affordable, reliable, sustainable, and modern energy for all. Sounds good, right? Translation: smart grid with smart meters on everything, peak pricing, penalize coal, gas, and oil while pushing doomed-to-fail green energy subsidies to brain-dead startups headed by friends of the House of Commons who all go bankrupt in 5 years. The green startups make for impressive speeches and media coverage, but because these companies are led by corrupt idiots rather than capable entrepreneurs, they always go broke. And the media hopes you don't remember all the fanfare surrounding these original launches. Read you one more. Goal number 10. Reduce inequality within and among countries. Translation: even more regional government bureaucracy, punish the rich, the entrepreneurs, and the innovators, confiscating nearly all gains by those who choose to work and excel. Redistribute the confiscated wealth to the masses of non-working human parasites that feed off of productive economy while contributing nothing to it, all while screaming about equality. Have you heard about UBI, Universal Basic Income? Yeah, kind of like that. All socialism. Now, the United Nations 2030 Agenda, or its expedited date of 2025, decoded, it's a blueprint for the global enslavement of humanity under the boot of corporate masters. So here we go. Let's see if we can get this flag to burn. Not too windy. Put it on my little makeshift clothesline here. See if we can get it to burn. Oh. Come on. There we go. Burning down the UN house. There we go. Got it burnt. That's the last of it. A little bit left there on the line. But there you go. I would urge everyone to sign Leslie Lewis's petition E4623 to exit the UN, the WHO, and any other NGO like the World Economic Forum. They do not have our best interests at heart. They hate humanity. They don't care about the planet. They don't care about the environment. They don't care about humanity. They only care about wealth and control. Try to remember that. So say no. Do not comply. That's all I can tell you. If you can read my shirt, we are ready. Globalists, we are ready. If you can read my shirt, I will not comply. Hey, globalists, I will not comply. Hooah! That was the first trial run of the challenge. Smell of Freedom, hashtag Smell of Freedom Challenge 2024. Black Sheep Truth Media.
This song.
My name is Ashley McDonald. I'm here representing hashtag Smell of Freedom Challenge. I'm here to burn the UN flag, and I'm burning it because nobody has autonomy over my body or my life but me alone and Almighty God. I'm reading from the Agenda 2030. There's Sustainable Development Goals, and I'm going to read Goal 4, which is to ensure inclusive and equitable equality, education, and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. The translation is the UN propaganda. Brainwashing through compulsory education from cradle to grave, push a false history and a dumbed-down education under Common Core education standards that produce obedient workers rather than independent thinkers. Never let people learn the real history or they might realize. Goal 5. This is one of my favorites. Achieve gender equality and empower all women and girls. Don't forget they left out the men. Translation, population control through forced family planning, criminalize Christianity, which is already being done now, marginalize heterosexuality, demonize males, and promote the LGBT agenda everywhere. The real goal is never equality, but rather marginalization and shaming of anyone who expresses any male characteristics whatsoever. The ultimate goal is to feminize society, creating widespread acceptance of gentle obedience, along with self-weakening ideas of communal property and sharing everything. Because only male energy has the strength to rise up against oppression and fight for human rights. The suppression of male energy is key to keeping the population in a state of eternal acquiescence, which means the reluctant acceptance of something without protest. So let's burn this because I've been waiting for a while for this one. Here, baby, burn it. Let it burn. You'll never have the power over me. I'd rather die on my feet than live on my knees.
Hello, brothers and sisters. I don't have a UN flag, but I got a blue piece of paper. And that's the best I'll do for them. I'm gonna go to a city, get a UN flag. But it is time. It is time. It is time. You are free. You are free. United Nations, UNDRIP. You can leave. As we know, you're after our water and our lands and bribing our tribal people, innocent people. Corrupting the chiefs and councils. United Nations. There it goes. Feels like freedom. Abolish the crown, abolish the United Nations and UNDRIP. People versus the people in power. Here we go. Let's go.
Hey everybody, we're wrapping up day 1, January 20th, 2024 of the hashtag Smell of Freedom Challenge, burning the old UN flag. We are now adopting the new UN flag. Anyway, we had 4 videos that were uploaded today, and they've been shared on social media. So now I'm just doing a slideshow of all of them, and I'm gonna upload all of that to YouTube, and it'll be one big long video, and it should be interesting. So overall, day 1 was good. So keep burning them UN flags. Keep recording yourselves and the reason why you're burning them. Send them to me or post them on social media. Send them to Black Sheep Truth Media. And let's make this a worldwide thing. Hooah! 2024, the new United Nations flag. Hooah!